What's poppin', guys? I know it's been a minute, but I'm back, and I plan on keeping it that way for a little bit. Now, while I was away, I watched some shows and listened to some music and played some games, so hopefully I could pump out content like I did at the beginning of this year. One of the shows while I was away was an anime called My Hero Academia. I'm on season 4 right now, and I'm watching with my friends Edgar, Trey, and Nick, aka Lower Standards Production. And now, of course, when we with the boys, we always gotta poke fun at the cringy anime show sometimes. And a lot of it was pretty fun, but I would rather talk about the time where we stopped for a second and just watched and listened. One of my favorite moments in the show was the fight between All For One and All Might. And it was so beautiful and there was a lot of choreography. I know it's drawn out, but it was really cool moves. And also they brought up the United States, which is, United States, baby. It was beautiful and action packed. And I love that fight, but I'd rather talk about what happened after. Like Batman and Joker, they get their own interrogation scene, and just like Nolan's take on the panel from the comics, it's a masterpiece, if I've ever seen it. Before I break this down, 95.5% of you are not subscribed, so make sure to hit that big red button on the bottom of your screens, and maybe, give it a little bit of a like if you want one, or maybe a dislike if you feel like it doesn't matter to me. It starts with All Might entering the room, and All For One describing the current dilemma he's in, and also just pulling an Omni-Man, flexing how much power he needs for the humans to keep him at bay. Saying that every time he flinches, guns point at him. If he even thinks about using his quirk, he'll get shot or something like that. He'll die. While doing this, he also is taunting All Might with the fact that Gran Torino couldn't be there because of his injuries. All Might asks where Shigaraki is, the guy with the hands, and All For One turns around and goes,
"Haven't the slightest. Unlike your bird, mine left the nest and makes his own decisions."
All Might unfazed and asks, why are you doing this? For One saying how boring and simple that question is. Saying that as much as All Might wants to be a hero, he wants to be an all-powerful devil. Ending with both of them not understanding one another. Not knowing how you could be a hero and not wanting power, or being a villain that wants power and not wanting peace. All For One also teases All Might for no longer having his powers now that he used it up on him. He couldn't help people anymore, which means he ultimately won. All Might, getting more upset, asks why All For One would need a predecessor. All For One explaining it like All Might would, saying that he's getting too old and that his injuries have caught up to him and that he needs a young talent to replace him, a young prodigy. And then, as this goes on, the shot gets more and more blurred together, showing us a blurred visual between the two of them, showing that they aren't so different after all. Relating to this, I wonder if you guys noticed what I did. As the interrogation goes on, once they show a panel of one talking, it is immediately mirrored once it is their line to continue. They are both alike and mirrors and opposites of themselves at the same time, depending on what they said, and you choosing the side you want depending on what point of view you want to take from that. All For One continues to taunt All Might, and he talks about his public image and the new #1 endeavor, saying everything and talking as if it was all just part of the plan. That's when All Might loses control and looks like he's gonna, beat the remaining life out of All For One, saying that he will stop him whatever the cost and won't be dying anytime soon. Closing with All Might saying to All For One that he will be stuck in that cell for the rest of his days. As he's leaving, we get one final shot of All For One laughing as he says,
"Rest of my days, huh?"
To the audience once more that this is all just according to the plan. This conversation between a hero and villain was so intriguing and interesting, and showing both sides of good and evil very well. It also does a great job of showing how vulnerable All Might is and how evil and clever All For One is, with the elegant music also surrounding them in the background as All For One talks more. It can't be more beautiful, but yet sinister at the same time. I love it. Thus showing All Might may have won the battle, but he sure as heck hasn't won the war just yet. That's all I have for now, friends. Have a nice day, and plus ultra!